Welcome back, everyone, to GMA 3. Tonight, on a special edition of 2020, ABC News investigates the University of Idaho stabbings that have shocked the country. The report will feature exclusive interviews with friends and loved ones of the victims. And here's the sneak peek.
They were like, okay, it's an accident. Let's not panic, And I remember texting Kaylee. Seeing if she was okay. She obviously didn't ever respond because it was in the morning.
Let's bring in someone now who has really been tracking this from the very beginning. ABC News correspondent Kayna Whitworth. So let's talk about the suspect, Bryan Kohberger. We have learned he was working towards his doctorate in criminology at Washington State University at the time of these murders. What else have you learned about Kohberger and the evidence that they have against him?
All right, so as this is starting to spill out here, really, we learned a lot in this probable cause affidavit when it was released. Mainly, we learned that the prosecution says they found his DNA at the crime scene. They found his DNA on the button of this knife sheath that was left in the bed with two of the victims. So that's the main point there from this affidavit. We also, though, learned shocking details that a surviving roommate actually saw a suspect that night. This surviving roommate described this person as clad in black, walking straight towards her and then out the sliding glass doors. That's when authorities believe that the suspect left. Yeah, major details and developments there. Kayna, ABC News has confirmed federal investigators observed the suspect discarding garbage into neighbors' trash bins at around 4 a.m. While he was being surveilled in Pennsylvania. What is this and why is it so significant to the case? Right, so as you mentioned, that happened in Pennsylvania, right? So this is on the other side of the country. He is at his parents' house. And why this is really important is because authorities witness him throwing the trash away. He's throwing it away in a neighbor's trash can. Once they see that, they can take it, they can test it for DNA, and bam, they have their match.
Okay, Kayna, you actually mentioned just a moment ago about that surviving roommate, how she said she saw a man dressed in black on the night of the murder. She called police 8 hours later. Have police said anything about that 8-hour gap? I know, that's a huge question, right? How could this possibly happen? I have been advised, and I think rightfully so, as we all should be when we look at this case, to look at it perhaps not as an adult, right? As maybe a 21-year-old college student. I've been told that the noises she heard in the house that night, they weren't necessarily all that unique. This is a loud house. This is a party house in college. It's a fun place. Maybe there was no inherent fear there at that time. Also, when you're in college, it's not rare to sleep till maybe 10, 11, maybe even noon. And so that's the advice I've been given, and I think it's important that we look at it that way. I've been asked by I've asked a lot of their friends. They say that this person who saw the suspect needs to be treated as a victim herself as well. So we need to keep that in mind. I also believe that there's a lot more information surrounding that interaction, and that will hopefully come out here in the coming months. Yeah, save all judgment until we get the evidence and the details here. Kayna, the suspect was back in an Idaho court yesterday where preliminary hearing was set for June. What are the next steps in this case? So Bryan Kohberger will remain there in Latah County until this preliminary probable cause hearing. It's set for June 26th. So essentially what happened yesterday, right, is he waived his right to a quick preliminary proceeding. That could have happened within 14 days, but his lawyer's saying, there's a lot of evidence here. I need more time. So it's set. He will remain in Latah County until that happens on June 26th. When that takes place, the judge has put aside the entire week for that to happen. Both sides, the prosecution and defense, will present evidence. They will call witnesses, and then the judge will make the decision if this case needs to move to district court. It seems like everybody around the country has been, sort of following this story very closely. Tonight on 2020, for the first time, we will hear stories that we've never heard before. What can we expect? You played the clip, right? You saw Katie there talking about her best friend, Kaylee. I had the opportunity to meet with a lot of the victims' very close friends and their families. And you will really get to learn who these kids were, what they meant to their community, what they meant to their families, and the future that they had set up for themselves. And I think that that's really important. A lot of this focus recently has been on Bryan Kohberger. And I think that it's very, very important that our viewers start to learn more about these kids, who they were, and why this loss is
unbelievably tragic.
And again, you've been on this story since day one. Phenomenal reporting, by the way. Kayna Whitworth, thank you. The 2020 report, Horror in Idaho, the student murders, premieres tonight at 9 o'clock, 8 Central on ABC, and tomorrow on Hulu.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.